From Coruscant to Tatooine, and every planet in between, Star Wars, prototypes and production, with your host, David Quinn.
Vader. It's a trap!
Yes, Master.
Right.
Whoa, we're gonna have company!
Have to stand and fight.
The more you tighten your grip, Tom, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The Force will be with you, always.
Good morning. We are at the end of April, and this is pretty incredible. We have this is a busy weekend for toy shows. So we have the ToyCon NJ show that I'm driving to now. It is Saturday morning. And then tomorrow is the Delaware toy show. So I'm going to try to go to both of them. This one I'm really excited about because I went to ZoloCon in March, and while it was a nice show, it was a little hectic getting in. I think it took an hour waiting in line to get in, and it was, to me, it was one of those things. I'd gone to so many toy shows last year that I don't think I was ready to go back to another toy show in March. And so for me, it was not the best experience. It was a very good show. It just, personally for me, I don't think I was ready to go back. And now, at the end of April, this really, for me, feels like the first toy show of the year. It's raining, which tends to happen when I go to toy shows, but it's not raining heavily, so it's not too bad right now. It's beautiful out as far as the temperature. I think it's almost 70 degrees, so I'm wearing shorts and a sweatshirt and just ready to take in the day. But I found out that there's going to be actually a lot of our friends and fellow collectors attending this one. So there's a group from the Northeast Club that are coming down, people that I absolutely love, and I'm so happy to see them. I haven't seen a few of them in a while, and some of them I've seen recently, so that's been nice. I also found out that Tom Quinn, who is a really dear friend of mine, he's also the co-founder of the Empire State Club. He's going to be coming down to ToyCon, and he's going to be coming with my fellow Ahsoka-holic buddy, FJ DeRobertis, another dear friend of mine, so that's wonderful. One of the first people that I really met and connected with, this is going back in 2015, we met at a toy show, is Al Torello, and he's been kind of out of the collecting and the groups for a little while, and he's this is his first toy show, I think, in a bit. So he's coming down. I'm getting to see my good buddy Ryan Humble Hoarder, and he's going to be set up today. So I'm going to be hanging out with him for a while. Pete LaRose and his daughter Audrey are going to be there, and I love them dearly. And so, just really great friends that are coming. I think Ed Nagy's coming down from New York City as well too. You know, again, just another great guy. And so these are all wonderful people. Adam Marks, a fellow New Jerseyan, he's going to be coming, and I love seeing Adam at every show that we go to. And that's really what I'm excited about today. I usually talk about something that I'm looking for, and honestly, I mean, there's really nothing right now. I'm just slowly building a war chest and dry powder, I guess, as they say, and saving up for some, hopefully some special stuff later on this year. And other than that, I mean, it's just, if I see something cool that I can add to my collection, great. But I'm really going, to see everyone, to hang out with people, and to really catch up, especially one-on-one, walking around the show together, talking. And I think this will be a special day. So I have actually another 20 minutes, and I'm almost there. And then I'll take you into the show. So just to give you a quick idea, the toy show was held in Parsippany at a venue called the Police Athletic League, and it was a great spot. They had dual gymnasiums and just a whole bunch of areas and rooms within the venue itself as well too, and they expanded beyond just toys, and they had things like arcades and I think even, slot cars and different events like that, which for attendees was fantastic, or were fantastic. Just families being able to partake in all these different activities. They've moved out of Parsippany. During the pandemic, they moved from Parsippany to Wayne, just as a temporary relocation, and now they moved back to Parsippany. So we had at least one or two final times in Parsippany, which was nice. Again, great venue, great spot, very well attended. And now they've moved from Parsippany. They outgrew the space and they moved to a much larger location. It's at an Armory in Morristown, New Jersey. So further north. So they had their first debut show at the Armory in the fall, and it was a great spot. My only complaint was I wish that they could have promoted it a little more, because it's not on a main road. It's kind of up in the hills and tucked away a little bit, so people aren't going to see it. It's not going to be as visible, so you have to know about it. But for a first show, I mean, it was well attended. It was really nice. I'd actually set up with Ryan. I brought a few items and took over a little corner of his booth and just got to hang out with him for most of the day, and it was really nice. I had a great time. And so we're doing that again. I think it's going to be just a really nice experience, and we have to me, there are a lot more people from our circles and our collecting groups that will be in attendance. And then we're going to do a lunch at some point. I'm figuring probably sometime between 12 and 1. I don't know of any restaurants in the area. And actually, it's kind of strange. It's tucked away. So they do have food trucks, so we might just stay at the venue or we might go out. But I know we're all looking forward to doing that. So there'll be a nice group heading out for lunch. And it does feel like one of those old school meetups, which I'm looking forward to. I've been missing them. So it's a great way to kick off the spring here, and I guess we'll see what happens for today, but I'm thrilled that I'm able to travel out, and I'm thrilled to be taking you along with me. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's see what the day brings. Okay, we have 15 minutes before the doors open. I got to see Ross Barr and Pete LaRose so far, and Ryan. So this is, it's a great setup. There's not a lot of vintage actually here as far as Star Wars. There's a lot more modern, but there is a ton of everything. So if you have multiple interests, this is the type of show to go to. There's die-cast, Matchbox cars, wrestling. And here's my friend Audrey. Audrey, say hi.
Who is it?
This is the podcast.
What podcast?
What would the podcast name be? Begins with Star Wars.
Star Wars and prototypes and production.
You got it. Okay, so it looks like there's about 200 people in line right now. We're waiting to get in. I'm not going out just to get some stuff that I brought with me. The rain stopped, thankfully, but we're probably about 10-15 minutes away from the doors opening. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I think the show is now open to the general public. I have to say, I really think that the early bird went very well. There was a group of, if I were to guess or to estimate it, 200 people or so. But it's busy now. There's a lot going on. One of the things I like about this one this time is that they're not playing music like they were. They had they had music last time, and it was just a little harder to hear people and to have conversations. So I actually am now standing next to a fantastic friend of mine, Al Torello. I had mentioned you earlier as I was driving up, but so this is your first big toy show in a while, right?
It's been quite some time. I've been out of the game, but I'm working my way back in slowly but surely.
And do you remember how we met?
I absolutely do. It was over in Wayne at the toy show. We were both
Toy
at
Show, yeah.
Rob Bruce's stand. I was inquiring about a couple of figures, and Dave, being the kind soul that he was, gave me some good advice. And from that point forward, we've been friends ever since.
Do you remember the figure that I had that you asked me about? Because that's how our friendship started.
I believe it was a Han Solo.
Han Hoth, absolutely, yeah, 31A.
Absolutely.
And, just a really nice one. But yeah, so what do you think of the show? So this is your first time here,
yeah, the Armory. Yeah, no, it's great. They've really done a great job. A lot of good stuff. It's good to see a lot of vintage, which is what I'm mainly focused on. So I'm really enjoying that.
Have you found anything for your personal collection? Anything you're interested in?
Not yet. I mean, I'm interested in everything, of course, but haven't found anything that I don't have. But I'm only just starting my hunt, so. Okay.
And you've seen a number of our friends around so far?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see a lot of friendly faces that I haven't seen in a while, so that's probably the best part of the show for me so far.
If you could add one thing to your collection, what would it be?
That's a good question. You know, I've always been hunting that. I wanted that Stormtrooper
Tri-logo Stormtrooper, yeah.
So if I come across one of those, it's going to be hard to pass that up.
I still look for one for you, and every time I see one, my stomach just clenches, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This could be it.
I still remember the one I had a chance to buy, and for $110, and we were pricing them out at the same value as a Stormtrooper Jedi at the time, and now it's like $600-700, maybe more.
Yeah, I think closer to $9 now.
Yeah, so it makes me sick, but it's good for everything else. So that one piece I didn't get, but I've gotten a lot of others that have appreciated significantly. So
well, I'm glad we're staying together. I know you and I were talking before, and I asked you when the last time we were in the same room together was, and it might have been a few years ago, right?
Absolutely. I think it was pre-COVID, actually. So I can't believe it's been
It's just
that
so
long.
nice to have this time now.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
And you're going to join us for lunch, so we're going to go lunch later.
Looking forward to seeing the rest of the guys. So it's been a long time, and excited to rekindle all those relationships.
Awesome. All right, well, let's continue hunting, and we'll check back in a little bit.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's almost 11 o'clock. We're still waiting for the Northeast Club to get here and to see Tom Quinn and FJ DeRobertis. So I think they should be getting here at some point soon. The show's going really well so far. I originally, when I walked in, I didn't think there was a lot of vintage, but I'm hearing more and more from collectors that they're really thrilled with the amount of vintage and vintage Star Wars. So that's great. I know my buddy Ryan brought a lot of it, and I tried to bring a few pieces as well too, which is good. And I've connected with a lot of people that I've seen and maybe met through Ryan, others that, I'm just meeting for the first time, and it's been really nice. So I'm going to just take a quick lap through here and see if there's anything. There's a gentleman, he and his father are set up, and he has an AFA 60 R2-D2 with the pop-up saber. He has a carded Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper. And a carded B-Wing, Power of the Force B-Wing pilot, AT-ATs, and all these different vehicles. So really nice setup. It's nice to see a lot of Star Wars figures here. It's not Star Wars heavy, but for what's here, I mean, there are some really good tables and really good vendors. I think the prices are pretty good too. Last year we started to see some good sales on modern Star Wars stuff, and I think the prices for that has come up substantially, but we're now Black Series figures. For a while they were like $5 to $15, and now they're starting to inch up again, or at least the vendors have them at those higher prices. If it were me, if I had my wish, I'd have every table having Star Wars, but I don't think we're gonna have that. But anyway, so I'm walking back to my table with Ryan now, Great show though so far. A lot of fun. This is what I feel like I've been missing for a bit, and it's just nice to be back. And I can't wait till everybody else gets here too. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I saw Ross Barr before from CAS. We got to walk around and chat for a while, so it's been a nice show. Okay, I am with my buddy Adam Marks, and it's close to 11 o'clock, and you just told me that the Empire State guys and the Northeast Club have arrived, which is good. So
I just ran into FJ and Tom, but and I said hi to Ross as well. He has his CAA booth here. Or CAA. Oh my God, it's a long morning. CAS, I knew that.
So you have some stuff in your hands. What did you pick up?
Yeah, so you know me, I like both Star Wars and Garbage Pail Kids. So pretty much that's what I picked up. I got. Because for $10 I couldn't pass up a loose R5D4.
Okay.
I can never have enough.
Red bar?
Unfortunately, no. Ryan has a nice faded red bar, but a little too much for me at the moment.
Okay.
But picked up a bunch of Garbage Pail Kid pins, but the coolest thing were buttons. But the coolest thing was the guy had the shipper box and the actual box that it came with. You don't see that very often. Just some other oddball Star Wars stuff, a couple of Garbage Pail Kid cards. So it's been a pretty good show. There's a lot less modern here, a lot more vintage, nice kind of combination of a little bit of everything. You're not just seeing those big walls of, hey, I just bought out Target, I'm going to put it up on the shelf. So it's been a pretty good show and pretty busy. The second year at this location, I know last year we were talking, it was like dead. But
because I think, as we said, people didn't really know that it had shifted and moved to this location.
And it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. It really is off the beaten path. You kind of have, you don't just drive by it and kind of say, oh, a toy show. You kind of have to know that it's here, and it seems like they got the word out this year. So a lot more people. It's only like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
11 o'clock, and it's already pretty packed for the location. So yeah, just hoping to find some more goodies.
You've taken more laps than I have so far for the Star Wars stuff. How would you describe the amount of Star Wars figures and items that are here, and what types of items are we looking for?
It's kind of a little of everything, actually. There's a lot. I mean, most of the other shows you've been to, you've seen this the last few years. It's like you have one or two guys with a lot of it, and then, here's a table with like 4 loose figures, or here's like 1 or 2 carded. You're getting a lot of booths with a lot of beaters, a lot of nice stuff, a lot of carded stuff, box things. I mean, it's really a pretty good variety and a lot of different vendors. There's probably a dozen people at least here who have some form of vintage, and probably even more than that who have like a little loose here or there. So compared to the last few years where it's kind of walls of pops, I would say it is definitely shifted back to more unique or more vintage, more variety than just kind of the modern line.
And what's the most interesting Star Wars piece that you've seen so far?
Oh wow, putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, I have to come back to you on that.
Have you seen anything that stood out to you?
I mean, honestly, just the variety. I mean, it's a couple of guys, like Ryan here, and some, who have like this. I mean, they sit up on a lot of the shows, and you see the stuff they have. But just I think the variety of the graded and loose and carded and oddball. I think that to me is what stood out more than kind of any individual piece.
Yeah.
But let me do another lap or so, and I'll come back with the answer around what my favorite piece is.
I look forward to hearing about it. But no, really, thank you so much for taking a little time today. And I look forward. I think we're going to have lunch probably in about an hour or two.
It's always great to get together with everyone. It's been so long, I feel like, since we've kind of...
It really has,
I think it was last year at Fonz is where we kind of at least got to see a lot of each other, at least for me. It's always tough to get out on the weekend. So when you get a local toy show, for me at least, I can't pass that up.
And this feels more like a meetup than a toy show, so I really like this.
Cool.
All right.
Good seeing you, Dave.
Good hunting. Okay, it is 11:30. I can't remember a convention that moved faster than this one. Time is just flying, but it's been really great. As I said before, I think it really truly feels more like a meetup than a toy show, even though it's a fantastic toy show, but it just has something really special about it. And I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad that everyone was able to come to this as well too. But it looks like the rain's held up, which is nice. I'm stepping outside for a second just to get something from my car. It's starting to rain a little bit, but not too bad. But there are a lot of vendors. I want to say, I checked the website, and I think Joe, the promoter, said that they have somewhere around 180 to 200 different booths. And, I mean, really, you could spend probably a good 2 hours here going through each table or more. And ToyCon has never really disappointed. There have been some that are a little less attended over the years, but other than that, I mean, it's been really great. So, all right, it's now starting to rain harder. So I've had the fortune of standing next to Ryan Hummelhorter all day, a good buddy. We go back all the way to the Wayne Toy Shows as well, too. And how was the show for you today?
It was excellent. A lot of excitement. More attendees than I had expected. Got to see some friends from the Wayne days.
Absolutely.
Like several, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm talking, 10 years ago at least.
10, 12 years.
Yeah. And when we used to get together at the Wayne Toy Show in Wayne, New Jersey, the Fire Hall. And it's still alive, man.
It really is. And it's nice that it's transitioned to being at a place like this, and it's continued. But we were saying, too, that we used to stand around Rob Bruce's table or your table, and it would just be random people that would come up and start talking. And then those people, because it was a monthly show, we would hang out every month like that.
Yes. And now these are people that we have in our phone and we know by name. Like Al showed up today.
Yeah.
You know, he was one of those guys from back then. I saw Alan.
Yes.
I saw Alan today.
Yeah.
He kind of stepped back from the game, but he was a fixture at all of the Jersey toy shows. Shout out to Alan.
He had, so this was maybe like 2013, 14, maybe even 12, but he had a Droids R2-D2 with a pop-up saber. I distinctly remember this, and he had it for $175. And at the time, that was kind of expensive for them because they hadn't really shot up or anything. Yeah. And I wanted it, but I was like, 150 is my... So I regret that
we all have those moments that we regret, yeah. But just, it's amazing that we can keep this going, and I mean, the inventory is almost impossible to find anymore. So what you're seeing, I think, mostly is, especially from my booth, is things that I've had for years and that I'm willing to finally let go of. So.
What kind of stuff did you bring with you today? Like, what do you have on your table?
I kind of hoarded over the years the first 12 display stand, the one with the levers that move and the backdrop.
So that would have been the mail-away action figure display stand for Star Wars?
Yeah. I think, what is it, dated 79 on the bottom or something? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But anyhow, or 78, I don't know.
78, 79.
Yeah, I forget, the whole history on that. But that's something I kind of, over the last 15 or so years, I've put aside. I mean, at one point, I may have had 20 of them.
Wow.
And at this point, I might have 10 or so. But so I wanted to bring that with the first 12 figures on display with their weapons, just because of how it stops people in the tracks. It's such an iconic piece, and it really did stop a lot of traffic. So that something like that is trying to put things together in a set and display them and have them for sale as a set.
Did anybody inquire about them?
It makes it a little bit more difficult to sell, because people might say, I want to buy the Stormtrooper.
Right.
Or I like that Luke Skywalker, I want to buy that. Well, I'm trying to not do like individual figures, because I could bring 100 different figures and maybe only sell a handful. I'd rather try to just lump it in the set and say, wait for the guy that's ready for the whole thing. Yeah, lots of interest in that. Young and old. I saw people taking pictures of it, didn't even talk to the people, just walking by, they just had to get a picture. And that person was younger than I thought would even be able to appreciate something like that. So it really goes to show the staying power and how iconic some of these pieces are.
What do you think it is about the display though with the figures on it?
Oh boy, all of this stuff, to me, it takes us back to a childhood and innocence where, where we played with toys. So, but that, boy, it's just a great design. They had a great thing there. A great way to show off the first 12 figures that they made. And, I mean, the levers still work. I really don't know what it is.
I was thinking about it before, and I think part of it is aspirational. So the first time you saw that, it didn't have the figures.
Okay.
And the figures were maybe at stores, maybe some were harder to find. Maybe, parents and grandparents and relatives were buying them. So it was this thing. It was the first, in a lot of ways, the first part of the collect 'em all, where you actually had a place for each figure.
Exactly. And it's something you could put on your display shelf, and you can add the figures as you get them. It's one of my favorite pieces. It really is. And it's another thing that I thought, well, I'll just bring it and at least draw some attention to the table with it, and I was successful with that. So we're talking here at the end of the show. It's 3:30 or something. The show closed at 4. So the roar of the day has died down, but it was busy. The alleys were packed with people, and this is a big venue. And
people are still here. I mean, we've been to shows where it dies after 1 o'clock.
Right.
And this, I mean, people are still walking by. Everyone's talking and hanging out.
Yep. There might be some sales happening somewhere off in the distance, but just great to see the enthusiasm for it still. And this is the only show that I do, so I can't really compare it to anything else. I don't even really attend any other ones as a shopper, but I keep coming back to ToyCon NJ because there's a reliable magic that occurs at this place. That's all. If I'm trying to articulate the words.
You were at the first one, right, in 2014, summer of 2014?
I believe so, yeah.
There was a gentleman there, and I think I've told the story on the podcast before, but there was a gentleman there, an older gentleman, who loved toys, wanted to open up his own toy store, was buying clearance items from Toys R Us and KB Toy Hobby back in the 80s and 90s. So he's buying all the clearance stuff, Beetlejuice and Star Wars, and he had it down his basement. And then decided that he wasn't going to open the toy store, and he did his first show at the first ToyCon.
That kind of thing could happen. It could still happen.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of these dealers, they know what they got, and some of them have things priced at, pandemic high prices, and they'll go home with it. It's a wild time collecting, but there's so many people that are into it that it just kind of justifies it, especially being at a convention like this. It's an enabling event. There's a lot of enablers around here.
There are a lot of products and items here that you look at and you go, I this is why I collect. And there are a lot of collectors that turn around and say, here's why we collect.
Right. And you see somebody else shelling out money for something, you think, well, I could treat myself too. So, I mean, if not anything, it's kind of cool to display all this stuff and draw the people in like a magnet to this old Star Wars stuff, because if you see the packaging of an AT-AT in the box, or a Slave One,
or 3 Slave Ones that are on the top of your shelf right now,
or just it's just, if you grew up with this stuff, you're going to stop and look. And we've been fortunate over the years during these events to have a lot of like-minded individuals swing by, get magnetized by the products, then start to talk and develop friendships. I mean, you, David, our buddy Al that came today, we're talking over 10 years, 10, 12 years that we met, and we met at a toy show. We bonded over that, and we have a history. I mean, like, I trust you guys. You guys are my friends. You're my people. Like, I glean inspiration and energy from you guys. So, like,
we call each other with finds or talking about different collecting ideas.
Right. Values of things, and check out this variant. So that's great. And we talk about life. We talk about buying houses and significant others and all of that. So all of this happened because of going to a toy show.
Right, because we met at the Wayne Toy Show.
Yes.
We met Al at the Wayne Toy Show.
We have a tight bond, so it's true. It's a real deal.
You also have a beautiful carded wall here. So you have some retro collection figures, the new ones, but then you have a lot of Power of the Force and droids. So what are we looking at?
I usually don't bring modern stuff, but I have a bunch of these Boba Fett retro collections in my collection, so I brought them out. Not a whole lot of interest in it, but
they're nice.
I've got some Power of the Force here. I still have a bunch of the Paploos. I think we talked about last time. I came across a Paploo score. So
you have 9 there right now.
Yeah,
9 carded Paploos.
Yeah, these ones have a good bubble. The other time we talked, I think they all had cracked bubbles. But
yeah, and these are really crisp. In fact, there's one that looks like nearly clear, which you rarely find.
They have a wave to the card. I never tried to train them, in a star case or anything. So but I have them out on a pegboard on a hook, and it looks like it's 1985 again.
Yeah, but they're just all sitting there stacked on one another.
They're stacked on top of each other on a peg. And then some other Power of the Force carded figures that surprisingly didn't really have any interest today. I mean, I have 7 figures up there. I had 8. I sold one of them, and
you sold a Lando, right?
Sold a Lando. Had a ripped card on it, and it was to a individual that we've been dealing for years. But these other ones, I got a Han Carbonite. Not one person asked me about.
Which is crazy because it's unpunched. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Next to it is an Amanaman. Not one person asked me about it. Then there's 2 Imperial Dignitaries next to that. I think somebody asked me about them.
And they both look really nice.
EV-99, nobody asked about. Kia Mall, nobody asked about. I think maybe one person asked about the A-Wing.
I'm honestly shocked because a lot of times when we do see good figures or like rarer figures for sale on cards, the cards are usually really heavily damaged. Like yours are absolutely beautiful. Some of them are unpunched, no price stickers.
Maybe, you can't really predict these things.
No, it's true.
It's strange because the stuff that I thought people would be buying or interested in, people didn't even ask about. Like I have a Jabba the Hutt Sears white box right there. Not one person asked about it. And that's been in my collection for years. I was like, they'll be all over that. Nobody's got this there. They need this for their collection. Not one person. I have a Hoth Ice Planet adventure set, like with a beautiful box.
Beautiful box, yeah.
Nobody cared about it.
Well, so besides the action figure display stands that you did with the 12 figures,
right?
What else sold really well for you today? What were people really asking about and were interested in?
My friend David Quinn had some items out. They were interested.
I did have some items, yeah.
But I did sell a few of the drinking glasses from Burger King.
Okay.
I have other Jabba the Hutts complete. No
You
inquiries.
sold a skiff? I mean, that was a...
Yes. My one and only skiff. A lot of interest in the Max Rebo. It seems like that thing caught fire recently, and like people need that to finish out their collections. There was one guy that said that was the last thing he needed.
I think that's also a big chase item because there's 2 microphones and a flute
Yes,
with it.
and that got expensive because of that. So, but it's hard to predict. You just got to bring a lot of stuff and try to appeal to as many people as possible. And there's no exact science to it, So you bring a truckload of stuff, you might go home with 3/4 of it, but you find home for other stuff, and you're able to keep collecting and put that money towards something that you really want. So that's all that's happening here.
The strangest thing I saw today at your table, where there were, I think, like 2 or 3, 4 like younger collectors that descended upon your bins that were filled with magazines and were like, we're going insane over these anime magazines.
There's like 200 magazines, and they were pretty much the only people interested in them. And the hallway was packed, and they didn't care.
They just took over one section and were just in.
Yeah, and they each bought, I think, one or two at $2 each, and I think I made their day. You know, I lugged 250 pounds of magazines here to make $8, but
congratulations.
Again, you just never know, man.
Yeah. Is there something that you would like to get for your personal collection this year?
It's a good question. Nothing offhand. I'm still just the guy looking for a weird variant in a lot. I'm still that guy, you know what I mean? If I can pick up a hollow tube Tuscan in a lot of figures, or a DT Luke, empty saber shaft, I'm thrilled, you know what I mean? Even if it doesn't have a high dollar, just getting that and seeing it, and your eyes go large, and you're like, that can't be, and it is. It's got the hollow end and the thing.
It's the excitement of it's what we live for as collectors, especially going to a toy show.
So like, if that happens here or there, that'd be amazing. Otherwise, I'm just trying to be grateful with whatever. But I do notice that the vintage is so hard to find. Anything vintage.
Yeah.
And
it seems like everybody's aware of it now.
Well, yeah, and I think just the supply isn't there anymore. I don't think there's an endless well to it. So, and that's the case for what I have on display here. It's not stuff that I've picked up recently. It's stuff that I've had for a while, and I've finally decided to see if anybody wants, to add to their collection. But the vintage stuff is hard to find. So, and I do a fair amount of buying over the years online, and I noticed that in the last 6 months, it's nearly impossible. Like, things are going for decent money. So, as much as you might think that the economy and collectible market is in a dip, it's nearly impossible to, if I sell something, it's almost impossible to like replace it for that price. So it's not a real sustainable thing I got going on, but once in a while, maybe get lucky, get a collection where you could.
I think it seems like the market's in a dip, and it is for some items, for some prices, but I think because we came out of the pandemic, where during the pandemic, stuff would move at light speed.
Yeah.
You would have an item, you'd put it up or whatever, and it would be gone, or you'd have multiple people fighting for the same thing.
People are taking their time.
They're taking their time, but stuff is still selling.
It is. It's a good time to buy because I think people are letting things go just like me. And I would still buy stuff if the price was right. So I'm still a player, but it's just getting hard. So I don't know how long I'll be a player because it's just not sustainable. But
yeah,
I'll do it as long as I can. I love seeing the people here. Love seeing things go to good homes. People who are excited about it.
And
people coming back year after year, man. I mean, there's magic happening.
They come specifically to you, though. And I think they do because, like you were saying before, you price your items to move them where it's not equivalent to maybe what's selling on eBay. And as a result, people are more apt to buy and they're more apt to return to you. So,
well, and I think, it would be better to sell it for a higher price because it was worth more, if it was worth more. But being realistic with the market, I mean, you have to. And I think that's one thing that maybe you and I have going for us is that we have a knowledge of the prices of the market. So I have to price things to the current value rather than some of these dealers around I see have some really high prices on things, and I don't know how they justify it. I'm sure they end up going home with it, but they may have priced it back in the pandemic heights and they're just holding fast to that. Or maybe they bought during that time and they overpaid and they're holding out till they can get it because...
Whereas you bought...
I bought
you purchased
cheap
stuff
over the years.
Yeah. And are willing to... Hello, best friend.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Okay, so it is 4 o'clock exactly. Ryan and I are just cleaning up and setting up. It has been a productive and fantastic day. I didn't get to walk around as much as I normally do at the shows, and that's okay. As I said, I wasn't really looking to buy anything, but my gosh, just what a fun day. It was just nice seeing everybody in some ways, and I think I've said this before, but it's felt like a family reunion. Just to be back with people that we've, in a lot of ways, grown up with over the last decade or so. And it's nice. So right now, Ryan is putting Star Wars bed sheets over his shelving. He'll be coming back tomorrow. So this looks to be a Star Wars and Bespin. It has a Bespin Luke on it and Darth Vader. Actually, it has Jabba the Hutt, so I guess it's the whole trilogy. And he always does a really nice job on everything. He has his cases. He actually did something which is really cool, and I don't see enough vendors do this, but he brought an entire collection of the first 79 Star Wars figures. So that goes all the way to Lumat and Poplu, I believe. And he has it, original complete. Every figure is complete with their accessories. And he has it for sale, and he has it in order of 1978, 78, 79, 80, 82, 83, 84. And so it's everything up to the Power of the Force. And then he had a separate container, a separate case for his Power of the Force droids and Ewoks figures, some of which are just incredibly hard to find. And when they show up at a show, they're usually, one of the highlights of a show for a Star Wars loose collector. So, but again, a great show. I have about an hour and a half ride home. As of right now, the weather looks okay, but it has been raining on and off all day. But the vendors right now are starting to put away all of their items that are out. A lot of them take home their more expensive items and then throw sheets over their tables. And it's just been a very successful one. I have the Delaware show tomorrow, and as long as I feel good and up to going, I'm going to go. But I don't know if anything will top this one. This was a really, really nice experience. Okay, so it's 4:15. We've just brought out most of our stuff. We're just kind of waiting out the remainder of what we have. Ryan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how tired are you?
I am about a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're lying, but that's pretty good.
I might look more tired. I think it's the end of the day, got a little fresh air running out to the truck, but long day, but well worth it. The excitement kicks in, and the day just goes by quick. Like they say, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, and this was the most fun.
It really was. It was like a reunion show, man. I feel like a lot of people showed up today.
Yes.
A lot of guys, like you'd see them here and there, but man, I feel like they all came out for this one.
And coming in a group too, which is nice.
Yeah. You introduced me to some of the guys from the New York State group.
I've been dying to do that, and the Northeast Club as well too. They're great guys.
Yeah, man. I'd love to, pop in on something with those dudes sometime and get to know them a little better. It seems like you got a real cool thing happening there. Yeah, absolutely.
We might have a hike coming up, so.
Oh, that's my bag. That's my passion. When I have my free time, I like to go hiking. So
yeah,
that would be cool.
What time did you wake up today to leave to travel to the show?
2:30 wake up. Yeah, and I have a 2.5 hour drive up here, and it's a long day, but honestly, the adrenaline kicks through. I probably will lose my voice later on, I'll be like...
I bring cough drops for that particular reason.
Yeah, but it's fun. You end up having so many conversations throughout the day with so many different collectors that you get caught up in the moment, it's beautiful.
Is there something that you'd like to bring with you tomorrow and sell?
Everything I have for tomorrow is here. I won't be re-upping tonight, so Sundays are kind of they're strange because Saturday's the opening day. You don't think you're going to get the attendees, but Sunday could be good. A lot of dealers are stocking up on Sunday, and with me only doing this show once a year, I might be more inclined to let go of some stuff, just so I don't have to tug it home, but whatever. I'm cool with keeping a bunch of Star Wars stuff.
It never hurts.
No, I'm always going to have something, so.
Okay. When is your next show?
I am actually going to do the Maryland Toy Show. I believe it's June 26th, I want to say.
You're going to lose your mind at that show. It is the most fun.
First time I'd ever been there. I've heard about it over the years. And
there might have been a podcast episode or 3 on it.
Yeah, I've heard about it from you and other people. I believe it's the end of June.
Some point in June.
Yeah. Are you going to go to that one?
I am. Yeah? I will be there. So I'll introduce you to a whole group of other guys and girls who are from that area as well.
That'll be another 2:30 a.m. long highway day, but it's worth it. I can only dip my toe in a couple times a year. I think it's cool that you're able to get out more often and really connect with people. That's really cool, man. So when I am able to get out, it's beautiful. It feels great, and have a smaller scale thing on a weekly basis at my local flea market where, I'll bump into a bunch of toy nerds and it turns into like a small scale toy show almost, because everybody congregates around the Star Wars there too, and the conversations come out, meeting people, and it's amazing to hear about how Star Wars has changed people's lives, and it's such a cool thing, man. Feeling it here at this toy show and then feeling it at smaller things like the flea market, and it's just fun. When you meet your people, it, and you celebrate it. So
for our friend who hears this, who comes, who listens to the episode and the experience and wants to maybe reach out and get in touch with you, what's the best way they can do so?
I am on eBay at Humble Hoarder. HumbleHorder. And I've been doing that for a while. I'm not really on the Facebook groups or anything, but if somebody wanted to reach out, I've helped people finish their collections or get a piece or two that they need to get them closer to being finished, and that just feels fun. It's a community. It really is. I've heard you say before, it starts out about the things and then it becomes about the people, and it's apparent right away when you're talking to people face to face. Even online, you could feel the magic of it, But there's a connecting thread that Star Wars collectors have, and going to an event like this, like ToyCon, is so much fun because in our day-to-day life, we don't come in contact with people who understand our passion about this stuff. Maybe our family doesn't understand it. Yeah. They put up with us, but they don't really get it. So to be able to be with people who
completely get it.
Who completely get it, and you're in a room full of people all day long. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You're learning things, you're sharing information, and that's how the day goes by so fast. There's just that magic, and we get to feel like kids again. We're actually fumbling and playing with little toys and looking at land speeders, and
we're exploring, identifying.
Yeah, we're cracking the legs on an AT-AT, and we're middle-aged men, but we're doing this stuff for fun and passion, and I think that innocence is what we're all after, a taste of that childhood innocence that we had back then.
And getting back to that era of hanging out with friends and just playing with toys.
Remember that? Oh, I'll bring my figures over your house and we'll have a battle or with your childhood friends. I mean, it really happened back then. Met a few new Star Wars fans this time, and a lot of old connections were rekindled here. It's just a beautiful thing, man. You know.
As beautiful as today was, I hope tomorrow is just as good for you, and that Sunday turns out to be a great show. I do have a feeling that people who weren't able to come out today are going to turn up tomorrow.
I hope so. You never know. We'll be here, and come out. Let's talk some Star Wars.
All right. So we're signing off now from ToyCon NJ, and it's been really a wonderful experience. And thank you for just making this a really special time. It was just so much fun hanging out with you and getting to talk to everybody.
Man, right back at you, David. Honestly, it feels like we picked up right where we left off, even though we haven't seen each other in months. That's the beauty of this. And like we do have an honest to God friendship, you
100%.
I mean, like
100%. We've been through the highs and lows together,
and you know everything else that comes along with a friendship. So this all happened through a shared passion for Star Wars and collecting the figures and toys, but also understanding the personality of each other and the intentions. It's transparent, you know. We have a pure intention about our friendship and our collecting, and that's where the magic is. That's where the connections come from, is that just pure intention, that childhood excitement.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things too that you've kept mentioning at different points today, and you're 100% right. We now have this long established history. We have it between us as friends, and then between a lot of the people that we were reunited with again today. So, and you know, you were able to make new friends with certain members from different clubs as well too.
That was great. Yes, I'd like to, you know, come to one of the sit downs and hang out and have more time where I'm not distracted. But I'd love to get to know those guys more and other people. So hopefully this summer I'll get out on a hike with you guys. That'd be great.
I think I'm going to make it happen.
Oh, please, dude. Let's do it.
All right. Well, here's to the summer, and then here's to the next time we get together, the next adventure.
Absolutely. Wow. 2025. It's great. You know, I could feel it. We're here in the moment, and it feels good. Wound down the day. Yeah. And it's also kind of cool to be part of the scene for a while, and just kind of, there's a comfort in that. But here we're not like exclusive. You could step up. Never met you before.
Yeah, there's no clicks.
We're gonna talk to you. We're gonna bond with you as long as you're friendly, and most people are. You know, I met people for the first or second time today. I told them, hey, come back, and you don't have to buy something. Just come hang out. We're all talking about Star Wars.
Yeah,
and they did, and it was great. So.
I've met so many people through just standing at your table, you know, where you're talking to someone that you know, and then you introduce me to them very kindly, which I appreciate, and I feel like I've walked away with a number of new friends as well too. So.
And it is good to know, to kind of vet the people and say, hey, I know both of these people are cool, so I want to introduce you. So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I look forward to more of that, and hopefully soon. I mean, we're going to be hanging out in Maryland, which is great, and then we have the next ToyCon as well, and maybe a few in between.
I hope so. I don't think he announced a date for the ToyCon in the fall yet, but maybe he did. I'm not sure. And Maryland would be great, and the hike would be great, and bumping into people,
meetups and all that
at the flea market or whatever. You know, just you see somebody with a Star Wars shirt on, hey, cool shirt, man, and it just goes from there.
That's how friendships start.
It just goes from there.
All right, man. We'll have a fantastic night. Get some well-deserved rest, and then you're up and at 'em again for Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I could do a whole nother day of this.
I could too.
Standing on my head.
Okay, so it's about 6 o'clock. I am in the car. I'm probably about, 10 minutes away from home or so. But my gosh, what a wonderful day. I can always tell when I'm heading home because my voice is completely shot, and it's from just hanging out and spending most of the day chatting with different collectors and seeing old friends, making new friends as well too. That always happens. One of the things, and I know we talked about it a lot on this podcast, on this episode, at the show, but one of the most special things that I can remember as a collector is going to the early Wayne toy shows, which were held at a firehouse in Wayne on a Saturday morning, I think, or a Sunday. I think it was Sunday morning. Sunday morning, and we'd walk. It was a very small show, but it was a monthly show, and so you would just kind of walk around those tables, and you'd find somebody like Robert Bruce, who passed away a few years ago, but he had just an incredible knowledge of all types of collectibles and toys spanning decades. And he was a character in a way where he was just very, he had a way of drawing people in. And so you'd just see a group of people standing around his table, and he would be telling stories about the history of items or just, finds that he had. And so everyone would just kind of be standing around and we would be talking. And if you found yourself standing there long enough, you got to make friends with the people that were around you. And if you came back the next month, those faces would all of a sudden be much more familiar. And then before you knew it, you were friends with them. And that's how I met somebody like Paul Chu. That's how I met Ryan. That's how I met Al. And that's how I met Pete. So all of these people that I know now and are friends with, a lot of that started at toy shows and a lot of that started at Wayne. So it's interesting to say that ToyCon is an offshoot of Wayne because it's a literal offshoot of Wayne. The promoter who started or who was running the Wayne toy shows at the time then came up with doing a larger show in northern New Jersey, calling it ToyCon NJ, and he ran it for I think a few years, maybe something like 4 years, and then he retired from running the shows, and another promoter named Joe Viteri came in and took it over, and he continued the tradition of ToyCon NJ. And this past year, he moved it from Parsippany to Morristown, to the Armory there. Really big building. It was just fantastic. So today was excellent. I am really coming off of a high of just being around everybody and just getting to see everybody again. There were people that I was shocked to find out that Al and we don't think we've been in the same room since maybe before the pandemic, where it was just, the pandemic was so disruptive that it just caused a lot of us to not be able to be together for a while. And then Al moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, and so we've kept in touch over the phone, but just getting together with our schedules being so kind of busy and hectic, it's been harder to catch up. So it was just nice to see him again, and just to be with everybody in the same room and to just walk around the toy shows. I wasn't looking for anything in particular this time, as I mentioned earlier. So I didn't really shop the show as much. It was more just standing around and just talking to everybody, and that was the greatest aspect of it. Our lunch plans were a little messed up. I didn't realize that the Northeast crew had planned to go to a diner that was about a half hour away. It was a half hour north of Morristown, which I just couldn't attend because I didn't want to be away from the show that long. And also after driving an hour and a half to go an extra half hour out and then a half hour back, I would have been gone for hours. But so they went to I think it's Holston's Diner. It's the diner where the famous last shot or last scene from The Sopranos was filmed. So I went there actually with the group about 4 years ago. It was actually during the pandemic, but we went there and we had a great time. So I'm glad that they were able to go. Two of the guys had never been there before, so that's Rob Meglio and John Peck. Hello to both of you guys, and they were able to go and attend for the first time. They sent us a picture. It looked like they had a great time there. Our friends Tom Quinn and FJ, they went to get pizza in Morristown. I didn't know that the Northeast Club was going to the diner, so a group of us walked around for about 20 minutes trying to locate them at the show before I finally called Gordy Owen, and roving reporter Gordy Owen. You might have heard him in the last episode, the one from Celebration Japan. And he was like, "Oh, we're at the diner already," and I had no idea. So at that point, it was too late to meet up with Tom and FJ, and we said, "You know what? They have great food trucks here. It's starting to rain a little bit. Let's just stay here, and we'll sit together and we'll eat." So 4 of us got together. So it was Adam Marks, Al Torello, Jason Knox, and myself, and we sat and we had a nice lunch. We had some really good brisket tacos. So great spot there. But I got to see everybody, and to hang out with each person at different times as well too. And even just seeing somebody for a few minutes really just made the show. So I didn't pick up anything this time, and that's okay. I sold a few items. Again, nothing big. I just, I don't have enough to bring to a table by myself. But I have some items that are either doubles. Because I would tend, if I found, say, a Darth Vader for a good price, I'd buy it no matter how many I had. But I had doubles, and I had ones that are in a condition that I, looked at and said, okay, I'm never going to send in to be graded. I'm never going to add this one to my collection. Or I bought it with the intention, and then maybe I found a better one. And so those they were either going to sit in a bin, or I could move them on and target other things that I really want. So that's how I looked at this. I didn't bring a ton of stuff, but I managed to sell a few bigger items, which is good. So it helped me to build a war chest, and I don't know. It was just but that, again, that was just kind of a bonus. That's really not why I go to these things. It was helpful, to bring some stuff and to do it that way and to move it to collectors. I actually got to meet a number of people and, get to know them because they were interested in something that I had. And so it led to a lot of collector conversations that way. I've made a few new friendships, which is just, again, something that you never know if something like that will happen. And when it does, it's pretty special. So this was really special. I got to walk around with my little friend, Audrey LaRose, which is Pete's daughter. You've probably heard her in the episode. She's very sweet and just a wonderful, wonderful person. And I'm proud of Pete as a dad. I know this probably sounds corny, but I'm very proud of Pete as a dad. And he's bringing her up to be just the sweetest, most wonderful person. My favorite conversation with her today, I just said to her, I said, I just absolutely love you. You're just the sweetest person. And she said, I'm really hyper. And I was like, you are very hyper. And she totally was. It's a lot to keep up with her because she has so much energy and in such a good way. And she just, she has a love for life, and that's a beautiful thing. So I just wanted to share some thoughts with you. I am approaching my development now, and I just had a fantastic day. So my plan is to drive down to Delaware tomorrow morning and hopefully see some friends down there, and to go to the Delaware show. So they have an April Fool's show every April, and then they have their Oktoberfest show usually in October. I think it's been in maybe November or December once or twice, but they're great shows. I mean, they're really well run, and I get to see people like Mike Mensinger and Eric Janicki and all of these people, Ben Leach, just people that I really get to see at shows and spend time with, and we get to talk all that nerdy collector stuff that we love. So that was the trip for me. It's been a long day, and it's been just an absolute wonderful one, and I hope more shows are like this. I said this to Ryan before we left. I hope people hear these moments from the shows, and I record these a lot of times because I want you to hear this and to want to come out and to experience this. I think, our hobby tends to veer toward transactional relationships a lot of times. I want this figure, so I buy this from you. You sell this to me. I give you money and then walk away. And there's not much to that. Yes, you pick up an item that you want, and that's great. But there are friendships that come out. I mean, there are collectors, like Ryan was saying to me, like, we can talk about this stuff with our families and our loved ones and our friends, but if they're not collectors, they don't understand. They don't get it like we do. Like, this is a different language, a different world, and we have that ability to connect with one another and to talk about this stuff in such detail. I was talking to Jason Knox earlier, and he was telling me he collects Kenner items, early Kenner items. Not even Star Wars, but just early Kenner items, in addition to Star Wars. And they have a fascinating history. And again, that was such a rewarding conversation, and it was just nice to hear about my friend's interests and his love for collecting in that way. So all in all, today was just a great day, and I hope you hear this, and I hope this encourages you to go out to your show and to just connect with people in front of the table, behind the table, collectors that you see walking that have an item. I mean, that's how Al and I became friends. I had just purchased a carded Han Hoth figure. It was the nicest one I've ever seen, graded in 85, which was awesome, but I was thrilled to have gotten it because I didn't have a Han Hoth at the time, and he saw it and he asked me about it, and asked me where I got it, and asked me, some questions about collecting, and we talked about stuff, and then, we just exchanged numbers as, hey, if you have any questions or, if you want to just catch up and talk Star Wars. And we've been friends for, 10 years. This is 10 years now. I think last month it would have been officially 10 years. So, for a friendship to build like that over collecting, I wish that for you as well too. And so if you're able to come out to these shows, and if you're able to come out to these things like these hikes that we do, in the Empire State Club or the meetups and stuff that all of the clubs have, they're like the toy shows, but they're even better. So anyway, this was needed today. This felt wonderful, and it was just a great way to get back together with people I haven't seen in a while. The winter can be kind of tough sometimes as far as getting together with people, because with the holidays and with the weather being, as bad as it can be sometimes, it just makes it more difficult. And then the spring hits and everybody wants to come out of hibernation and come out of their homes and just get together. And so when we have that chance to do so, we do it in style. And it was just a perfect day to do so. So that was ToyCon NJ. We'll see how Delaware is tomorrow. But thank you for taking this trip with me. And I look forward to taking more trips with you like this on Star Wars, prototypes, and production. Hello and good morning. Happy Sunday. It's 52 degrees right now. It's a little cooler than yesterday. So yesterday I went to ToyCon NJ and it was a fantastic show. I don't know if I lost my voice a little bit from yesterday or if it's just that wonderful time of year where everything blooms and allergies kick up. But it's 52 degrees. It's sunny. It's not raining like it was yesterday. Yesterday was warmer. But it's a great morning. So I'm heading down to the Delaware show. So I basically traveled to the northern part of New Jersey yesterday for ToyCon, and now I'm heading south to Delaware. So I'm getting a number of miles in. But it's a beautiful day to do so. Yesterday was a little busier, and I think today is going to be just a little easier. I don't really have many plans other than to meet with my friend Mike Mensinger, and we're hoping to go to lunch today. We'll probably do an early lunch somewhere in the area, take a little break from the show. It's not a large show. I go to this one twice a year. If you've listened to the podcast, you've probably heard a Delaware episode. So they have an April Fool's show in April, and then they have an Oktoberfest show in October. And they're nice bookends for the year. I like coming down to Delaware. It's always a peaceful ride, and there's something really special about the show, and I think it's the reason why I've been coming since 2017. In the spring of 2017, in fact, it was the week before I went to Celebration Orlando, which was my first celebration. But I've been going since 2017 and have loved it. It does feel more like, say, a mom and pop event where it's it doesn't have the high gloss of a lot of these professional events, which a lot of times can feel very sterile and very set. Whereas this, you get a nice mix of vendors, some who have stores within the area, and so who bring their wares that way, and then some who are just professional vendors or even amateur vendors who have been doing this enough that they know how to set up and what to bring. And then you have people that are maybe local to the area or who just love the show and have decided to set up for the first time and to bring stuff that they've owned that they're parting with. Or people, cleaning out their attic and basement, and sometimes you get that and you never know what's going to turn up. So I do love coming out to this show. Unfortunately, our friend Pete and his daughter Audrey will not be joining us. They are going to be doing day 2 of ToyCon NJ. But as I said, I will be meeting up with Mike Mensinger, who is a longtime collector and just a wonderful friend. And so we have a lunch planned, which I look forward to. And after just a really hectic and busy week, and really busy few weeks, and then a long day yesterday. I think I left the house around 6 or 6:30 yesterday and got home a little after 6 last night. So after a long day yesterday, I'm looking forward to taking this one a little easier, just walking around the show. Not really looking for anything in particular. If I see something nice for a good price, I'll pick it up, but there's nothing I'm really focused on. I'd always love to add at least one card or figure in my collection. But other than that, it's really just to see friends and just to visit another toy show. This weekend for me was very special because it does feel like the true start to the toy show season. And again, we have great weather. It's really all you can ask for. So it's just been nice reconnecting with everybody. I've gotten to see people from different clubs. And I just hope that continues now. You never know who's going to turn up at Delaware. We usually get a nice mix of people. And it does, in some ways, feel like a family reunion in that aspect. It's nice. There are people who attend Delaware, and it's the only time I get to see them throughout the year. So I'm very thankful for that. And so if you have some time, just take the trip along with me as we head south, and we should be approaching, within the hour, the Delaware Toy Show at the Nur Shrine Center. Okay, we're hanging out. It's 9:45. Eric, we are at Eric Janicki's table, seeing a little bit of the Yanache. And what is the item that is at your table that you need to get rid of today that you don't want to bring home?
Well, hello, by the way.
Oh, hello.
All right, so Mike Mensinger he picked it out for me today.
Oh, okay.
I got a Mr. Pibb truck that is I just got it in an auction.
Okay.
And it's like a stunt truck. You're supposed to take a car and they can ride through it and launch.
Okay, so basically it's a truck and it has a bed, and on the bed is a cylinder that is in the color of Mr. Pibb, sort of that Dr. Pepper ripoff. But it's an open cylinder so that if you have a ramp, you can just shoot a car off of it.
I guess, was this a real thing? Joey Chitwood's thrill show, the greatest show on wheels, and they would travel around.
Probably something in the 80s.
Yeah, so some car would would shoot through here and jump, and everyone would cheer. So, I don't know. It's the first time I had it at a show. It's kind of cool looking, so that's what I want to sell today.
Well, Mike's been looking to take something home with him, so I'm sure that he and his wife would be thrilled to add that to their collection.
No, Mr. Pibb will not be coming home with me today.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a pretty good one. So you sold the guacamole then, right?
Yeah, the guac ball is gone.
The ball's gone.
Yeah, that's gone. That thing was awesome.
It has now been replaced with the Mr. Pibb truck.
Do you have anything here that is incredibly...
I got something else. I've been taking this to a show, and I made a bet with Matt Fox that eventually I would sell these. These are Ruth Bader Ginsburg socks. Right? And when I made some swag a while ago, the company the vendor for the swag put a bunch of samples of stuff in my package when I had some patches made, and these socks were one of them. And instead of just throwing them away, I was like, I'm taking them to the show, and dang it, I'm going to sell these things eventually.
I'll be honest, I did not like her performance in Empire Strikes Back, but I thought she really came alive in Return of the Jedi and really redeemed herself. So
she's good in Andor, too.
Yeah.
At the wedding dance scene.
Gosh.
Oh, my gosh. She's
tremendous.
Yeah. So, yeah.
RGB.
So this would be the thing I want to sell, in addition to the Mr. Pibb truck.
Okay. Would you package the two of them together, say, if somebody like Mike Menzinger?
Yeah, because I can even stuff them in the Pibb tube, So
it's going to be like one of those T-shirt guns, but instead of T-shirts, it shoots out Ruth Bader Ginsburg socks.
Oh, that's great. That's very cool. Okay, well, yeah, those are two things that I could see selling very quickly in a show like this. You do have a Nintendo here. You have some interesting Star Wars stuff. I was noticing one of my favorite books in the entire world is the Empire Strikes Back pop-up book. I grew up with that, and actually the artwork for this book came up at an auction, I think a prop store auction recently. So
from the William Plum collection?
The William Plum collection, and it's the thing I truly regret. That and the Random House bookmarks, not putting in a bid and buying. But you always have great stuff. I like looking through your print material. A lot of times it's stuff from that era. Like you have a book here called The Star Wars Technical Journal of the Planet Tatooine, which is interesting, and it has some cool artwork on it as well too. What year would you say this is from?
I think that they were the late 90s, right?
Yeah, that's what they look like. They have the chrome that was embossed that they started to do on comic books in like the mid 90s as well too, but a lot of really interesting information and artwork in books like that. So, okay, very cool. I hope you sell those two pieces today, but otherwise, so you didn't go to Celebration Japan, right?
Not able to go this go around, but I was on with the Zoom call for the DC Club this past Wednesday, and Matt Fox, Jonathan McElwain, and Martin Thurn just got back, so they gave me the rundown of how the convention went, and they loved it, had a great time.
Okay.
So missed it, but can't make them all.
Are you planning on going to Celebration LA in 2027?
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely plan on doing that for sure.
And more importantly, are you planning on going to Rogue Fun?
Yes, but had they announced? They made like an announcement.
They made a May 4th. They said basically they're going to announce something on May 4th. Yeah. So we figure that it's going to happen.
But yes, that would definitely be in my plans. That was one of the best collecting weekends I've had. So I would really look forward to doing that again.
Will you be wearing pants this time? Because I thought your wardrobe choice was a little interesting. You don't have to, apparently, like when in Georgia, right?
Right. I might be wearing these Ruth Bader Ginsburg socks.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Without pants.
Okay.
Is that okay?
We'll make it happen. You know what? I'll make a deal with you. If you don't sell this in a month, I will wear the Ruth Bader Ginsburg socks to the next event we go to.
Well, Rogue Fun had like a pink theme, right?
The
last one. I don't know if this one is. And those are like that magenta.
It's sort of weird, though, because the way that she looks, and again, this is stitching, but she looks more like Harpo Marx. She looks like she does have she looks like she has like 3 mustaches. Yeah. It's a very interesting depiction of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
For those who can't see, these are pink socks, and it's just her figure stitched on the socks like multiple times.
It says we march on RBG, and then she's holding a blaster and a lightsaber. Yeah. So
she does look like Groucho Marx.
She does. She looks like Groucho Marx.
Too funny.
Mike, you have to see this. So, if you said to me, who is this? I would say, well, that gentleman is, I don't know. It's ready to rock.
It does look a bit like Groucho Marx.
Yeah, but very cool. Okay, so hopefully those will sell. But Eric, you have some nice stuff here.
Thank you.
Hopefully all of it goes quickly. And as you tell people all the time, is there a percentage off on it?
Almost everything's at least 20% off.
Perfect. Okay. All right, well, good luck today on the sales.
All right, see you guys.
Okay, so it's about 1:30. I left about a half hour ago. So the morning started with me driving to Delaware, and then once I was there, I quickly met up with Mike Mensinger, and he was talking to our good friend Ben Leach. The show started out pretty crowded. When I had gotten there wasn't a line or anything outside. They were having people go to the small room first, so that the way that the show is set up, it's a large auditorium with a stage at the front of it, and then there are, I would say, probably 10 to 12 horizontal rows, and then on either wall, going vertically, there are just vendors along the entire length of the wall. So it makes for a lot of tables. You could really spend probably an hour to an hour and a half deep diving, going through all the tables. And that's not counting just stopping to really talk to people either. But so I met up with Ben and Mike. Ben had a table, so he started to have some people ask him questions about some of the items at his table. So Mike and I decided to take a full lap around. And we went through the entire venue, then went up onto the stage, and that's where they have a number of vendors as well too. When I first got there, though, I went into that small room, and I really like that because that's where they put all of the first-time vendors to the show. And it's a nice way to entice people to go check that out, because a lot of times you're getting people maybe who have never done a show before, or they've never brought anything to Delaware. So there's a freshness with a smaller room like that, and I really appreciate that. And so as you heard, I got to talk to Eric Janicki, our friend Janachay. I didn't know if he was going to be there, but I'm really glad he made the trip. He had great items on his table. I wish I had the chance to look through them more, because he had some really interesting books and magazines, as well as some really cool action figures and accessories. There was a lot of Star Wars there. Sadly, a lot of it was overpriced, and that's less about the show and just more about the vendors that show up and bring stuff. And Star Wars always carries a premium, so I think we were seeing for the whole weekend, I think most of the items that had that came from the Star Wars toy line were priced higher. I know that yesterday Ryan's prices were pretty good. He always tends to have a lot of good items at good prices. There were some vendors there that had some interesting pieces. In the small room, there was a vendor who had a lot of modern Star Wars figures. He had a few Clone Wars pieces that I was considering picking up. He also had a Power of the Force Anakin from 1985, and it had a little mark on the figure's forehead, but it was $17, which I don't think I've ever seen one cheaper, or at least in the 2000s, but or at least 2010 and on, I think. But still, $17, not a bad price at all. But so we walked through the entire venue. We got to see everything, and we looked at everything really quickly. I mean, we were talking more, and then it started to get pretty crowded by about 10:30. I think the doors opened at 10 o'clock to the general public. And so after doing a full lap for about an hour and a half, I think Mike was ready to get going, and he and I talked about doing lunch, so we did an earlier lunch. We went to a local Wendy's because it was open, and we've been there before, and we stayed there, ate, and talked for about 2 hours, which was really nice. I love having that kind of time to be able to sit with somebody, especially outside of a show where there are just a lot of distractions. I think my buddy Ryan mentioned that yesterday, that sometimes it is hard to get into deep conversations at a show because you're just dealing with, so many different types of distractions and different things happening around you. So just nice to sit down and to catch up on life. We talked about collecting and, from a philosophical perspective, and, just taking a look at what the world of Star Wars and collecting has been and then where it's at now, which, I think as longtime collectors we find really interesting. And then, just talking about the pre-production process. I love that, and I love finding collectors that really appreciate that. And my gosh, Mike has taught me over the years. In fact, I learned from Mike before I actually met him because I was reading his entries on the archive. And, sometimes, at this point now, because Mike is a dear friend, it's easy to forget that. And when I do remember that, or when that does enter my brain, it always stuns me a little bit because, the people that I was gleaning knowledge and information from, just as a collector on my own, have now turned out to be dear friends of mine. And again, it's really nice to collect and then to connect with people who not only share a love for collecting, but who appreciate the pre-production process, looking at items, like prototypes and exploring runs in that sense. And so to have 2 hours with a collector friend like that in one area is just a true blessing. So after that, I was considering going back to the show and walking around and catching up with people, but I have to say I think the traveling, being out yesterday and the whole weekend, kind of caught up with me, and so I said I have a ride ahead of me. I might as well just head home for now. So it's been a fantastic trip, great weekend, one that I'm really thankful to have had. It was nice to go to 2 different shows because they were completely different. The thing that they shared, which I think makes it really special, is that the people who were vending there and the people who attended, they all seem to be kind of cut from the same cloth as far as kindness and enthusiasm, and I really like that. Everyone was looking forward to, I think, being out and being together and to talk about collecting. And everyone was just really nice. So it turned out to be one of those weekends that I don't think I'll ever forget. Very happy to have had it. And I can't wait for the next adventure. So stay tuned. Let's see what happens on Star Wars, Prototypes, and Production.